and for Dr. Kirk Adams on your guys' show. But Bella, don't think this is going to continue. Over to you. As you may or may not know, what's about to happen is Bella Verita, co-host of Heart of Influence, is about to put me on the hot seat. We do this as an illustration of the superpower of influence. I have no idea what's going to happen. She has some examples that are a little silly and fun. Sometimes they're super powerful. They're like resolving huge world problems. But whatever it is, I don't know what's going to happen. And we let guests on the Heart of Influence select which of these things to put me, quote unquote, on the hot seat to see how I do effectively on going from hello to yes about something in 3 minutes. Super powerful exercise, illustrates so many principles of the unblinded formula. Here comes Bella.
I think it's going to continue. So Andrea, you, as you know, and everyone, this is the time of the show that I get to put Sean on the hot seat in a scenario that he has no idea about, because I always cook them up as the show has been going on. Ultimately, Andrea, you get to choose which scenario that we go with. You can choose one of my scenarios. You can change anything about the scenarios, or you scrap them all together and come up with something much, much harder on your own. Are you ready to hear the 2 scenarios I have for you today?
I'm ready.
All right. I thought option number 1, I love Alyssa and her son's podcast about beer. So I thought it could be a very fun, twisted set of events to have the Pope on her podcast about beer. And so option number 1 is Sean would play Alyssa going from hello to yes with the Pope to appear on her podcast with her and her son about beer. So that's option number 1. And then option number 2 is, even though Philip said he wasn't great at Broadway tunes, I do know he needs to raise funds. So I thought option number 2 is Sean could role play Philip going from hello to yes with the Schubert organization to have a Broadway show on Broadway for 30 days with Philip and his cats to raise money with all the profits going to his social impact enterprise to raise money for his to get his app off the ground. So those are the 2 options I have for you today, Andrea. Either one of those tickle your fancy that you'd like to see Sean step in the hot seat for?
You are too much fun. They're both hilarious. I'm really torn. I'm going to go with option number 1.
Option number 1. And so, Andrea, who would you like to step into the role of the Pope?
I'd like Jerry to be the Pope. I think his accent, although it's not like the Pope's, I think he's going to be able to pull it off.
What are you talking about? Jerry has no accent. We have accents. Jerry has no accent.
And Dr. Kirk just joined the show. So welcome, Dr. Kirk Adams.
Glad to be here.
Warm welcome, Dr. Kirk. Yes, Bella Verita, please.
So you are going to role play Alyssa, and you heard her fun fact about her podcast that she has with her son about beer. And you're going to go from hello to yes with the Pope to be a guest on the podcast.
No. All right, hello, is His Excellency available?
Yes, it's Your Excellency speaking. How can I help?
Your Excellency, this is an honor and it's a privilege. And we had a 3-minute call scheduled for today. And it's Alyssa. Is it still a good time for you?
It's a great time, Alyssa. How can I help?
Yes. So, Your Excellency, I am just so grateful for the opportunity to communicate with you. And I was just wondering, and I will keep it to the 2 minutes and 45 seconds that your team has so graciously provided, and of course yourself. But if I could ask, I think you know the topic. What would have prompted you in the first place to even accept this call? I'm very grateful, but why did I have the privilege of this audience?
Well, I hear that you have a podcast about beer, and I was interested.
Well, thank you, Your Excellency. And your team shared that there was some interest because of intersections with the current culture of today. And I am very present to the fact that, this is potentially a highly controversial conversation we've been having. So I have signed the NDAs, but am I tracking that correctly? That there's some bridge that Your Excellency is looking to build to the younger generation and to some fine folks out there in a little bit more of a practical and fun, grounded way? Am I understanding that, or is there something else, Your Excellency, that is present?
No, no, you're right. We need to, as the leader of the Catholic Church, we need to stay relevant and engage with the issues of the day. So, yeah, you've understood correctly.
Well, thank you, Your Excellency. So from that place, may I share a couple things that may or may not resonate with you?
Please do.
So we've done some interesting studies, Your Excellency, in preparation for this conversation. Of course, it's such an incredible honor. And what we've discovered is this amazing dynamic. We've analyzed with a focus group first that the dynamic of religion, the Catholic Church, the Vatican, is meaningfully altered by the younger generation and the traditional educational models that are existing that have been, uh, I don't say infiltrated, but impacted and influenced by the left and the progressive left. And what the progressive left has done is to try to make irrelevant the Catholic Church and Your Excellency and God. And what we've also demonstrated, though, is with folks in these focus group surveys that they've said, hey, do you believe in God? Do you believe in traditional religion? And many of those folks have said, well, not sure, but what we don't believe in are the dogmatic principles, dot, dot, dot. But then we asked them a second set of questions. And this set was, if the Pope himself were to appear and have conversations about some more um, fun, lighter issues, like, hey, should folks drink beer or not? And how does that affect spirituality? Or to take a look at, social media, or hey, if somebody will watch an R-rated movie, what would somebody be thinking about or not thinking about? And these sort of very practical questions, it opened up this massive doorway to a consideration of a deeper relationship with the messaging. And so we have all of this done through focus groups. And what I simply propose to you, Your Excellency, is a 30-minute follow-up conversation, because we would never remotely suggest in this short a window that you just say, hey, yes, to coming on the show. We've also, however, created a connection with a charitable fundraising engine called Unblinded, and they have proposed to fund $1 million donation. Not saying you should do this for the donation, but if we put the focus group information together, the backup of the fundraising, I think that perhaps this will become relevant, interesting to the Catholic Church and maybe Your Excellency. So, simply put, the proposal is a 30-minute follow-up conversation so we could walk you through these conclusions from this incredibly reputable New York City focus group agency, and take a look at this charitable fundraising component where we can unpack this for you, Your Excellency, or simply your vetting team, your accountability compliance task force. So simply put, in final, we believe this could cause a meaningful step forward for the Catholic Church to impact millions and millions of lives. If Your Excellency would at least consider a 30-minute follow-up conversation, still consistent with our NDA, Your Excellency, how would that resonate with you or not?
Well, yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. That's very interesting. I think as head of the Catholic Church, I'm probably not the best person to appear on the show, but I'm sure someone from my team would be interested. So let's schedule that call and explore it further.
Okay, well, Your Excellency, I'm understanding that. What I would simply propose is for us, it would be looking to have you on. So if I could simply request, can we keep an open mind for that 30-minute conversation to let your team vet it? And we are incredibly interested in serving and supporting your mission, your work on this planet. And is there any possibility of just keeping open your attendance if in fact it would impact millions and millions of lives and maybe even affect tens of millions of dollars of fundraising? Humbly, may we request just the still opening of a possibility to just evaluate the presentation, Your Excellency.
Okay, yeah, let's have that conversation.
Well, thank you. It's an honor. And shall I set that up with Cardinal John that set up this conversation?
Yes, please. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, and have a blessed day. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. You too.